This is the single most exciting thing I do on a motorcycle, and I promised myself to do it every year. And if you're just about to do it, but you still have questions, this video hopefully will clear everything up and you'll be ready to go. I commonly get questions from people who are inspired by our travel videos, and they have questions on how we plan and prepare for a trip like that. And that's what this video is about. And I'm not talking about extreme adventures for years, crossing desolate deserts and being on your own. We're talking about a vacation adventure within Europe and with a bunch of friends. The typical rides that people out there are doing. We're not all Pavlins or Itchy Bootses. And in this video, I'll kill all your excuses of not going, and it will transform your life. It did for me. I don't view my life the same way as before. So let's get going. Traveling is safe and easy in Europe, and there's not many places on this globe where you have in such a small place so many different cultures and sceneries and everything. So Europe is fantastic. I have many years ahead of me traveling in Europe. So going away for a few weeks, traveling on a Europe adventure, this is how we do it, this is how we think, and you can cherry pick from that and make your own perfect adventure. I will tell you how we plan our trips as the last chapter of this video. First, we'll go through everything that is always the same information, same preparations, same luggage for every trip we do. So that's sort of the base setup, ready to go through Europe. We'll go through that and then the planning part. So first we need the bike, of course. And before a trip, I like to think, is the trip going to be longer than 10,000 kilometers? Because that's the service interval of this bike. If not, I just make sure to keep everything top-notch on the bike, new service, everything on the bike before we go. And I like to think the same about the tires, because there are tires that last 10,000 kilometers without a problem. I usually use, so far, Motus Adventure tires, because they've lasted over 10,000 kilometers on my trips before. Right now I have the Heidenau K60 Ranger. First time I try them, don't know how long they will last, but I will have them on my next trip, and we'll see. And I usually change brake pads before I go, or I bring a new set with me in the luggage. And on the trip, of course, I have some tools with me also. I have the basic toolkit that I always bring, and that's to fix small problems and change a flat tire. So this is my small toolkit that I bring always. We have duct tape. When it's not new, it gets flat, really nice. And some, let's see, I can't hardly remember. I have for the little trail stand, like that. Here's a few soldering sort of connectors so I can connect to electrical wires. I have fuses of different sorts. Here I have mending kit for a tube and some zip ties. In here I have sort of a multi-wrench here that I can use with my different sockets and bits and pieces here. I have a 10 and a 12 for the valve, and some things that I have chosen these bits for the different parts of my bike. So that's basically it. Besides that, I bring 2 tire levers and a little multi-tool here that I can loosen my rear and front axle bolts. The 10 and 12 is the pinch bolts and brake calipers. I usually bring this also, which is fork seal cleaner. Never used it though. And in the bike, under the saddle, I have a 21-inch tube that I use for both front and rear. We've ridden 2,000 kilometers with a 21-inch in the rear, so that was no problem. And here's a little compressor for inflating tires. So those are the things that I bring with me, but if you go in a group you can bring less and just bring one compressor, for instance, and some special tools and stuff like that, zip ties, whatever. Everyone in the group doesn't have to bring duplicates of things. And I have a cable clutch on my bike, and it's been there for 70,000+ kilometers. And it could break, which is why I have an extra clutch cable. So this is the one in use, the original one. If it breaks, the other clutch cable is just here, ready to be inserted. And for luggage, this 30-liter bag I think is everything I will use on my next trip, plus a backpack perhaps, or a little tank bag. But as mentioned, we will not usually go camping when we go through countries and stuff like that. We stay in small pensions and hotels. Eat the local food and meet people in the pub and stuff like that. So what I usually bring is 3 pair of underpants and 3 pair of t-shirts, of which I wear 1 set of them, 3 pair of socks. I have a dry bag and washing detergent, because then I can wash it myself if I don't have a other way to do that. Toiletries, comfy pants, a warm mid-layer that serves as a jacket or sweater when off the bike, a comfy pair of light shoes, and some electronics like chargers for my devices. Some people like to bring other stuff like emergency tents and stuff like that. Bring what makes you feel good and secure. So we're on our bike. We head towards a new country, and any road you see on the map that goes into the new country is a border crossing. And depending on the country or the countries that you go between, they may be really friendly. And then there's just a sign, you are now in the new country, so you will not have any border checks or anything. But then you also have the big border crossings. And they can be multi-levels, first the border police and then the customs and so on. And to cross any border in Europe, EU or non-EU, you only need 3 documents: the passport, the registration document, and the green insurance card. Depending on your home country, it's not always green, but it's called the green card anyway. And if you don't know if you're going out of the EU into another European country that's not a member, if you don't know that, bring the green card anyway. It's free and you get it from your insurance company. And you're ready to pass any border. I never had a problem at the border as long as I had the documents. So you pass the border, now we're in the new country. Hooray! So we start riding in the new country. You need your driver's license, of course, so that's one of the documents you need to bring. And next problem, money. Depending if you're transiting through a country to get to another, you'll only spend a day and you don't need any cash really. You can get away with credit cards at most places in the whole of Europe. But if you plan to stay a few days in the country, especially if you go in the more rural areas, you need cash. So usually we just go to an ATM with the credit card and get some cash. For money, the last few years I've been using the Revolut card, because with my normal Swedish bank MasterCard, whenever I purchase something in a store, they exchange the money to a rate which is higher, plus they add 1.5% in exchange charge on top of that. ATM, if I want to take money from an ATM with my normal card, there's a lot of charges for that too. With Revolut, there are no exchange fees on top of the exchange rate, and the exchange rates are just the flat rates that you find on any currency site. And I can withdraw money from ATMs free of charge up to a certain limit, depending on sort of the member level on the card. But we like to share the expenses when we're out traveling, because we're traveling in a group. So we are the four of us. The guys have Revolut, but without the cards, perhaps. And it's so easy just to pay the bill with one card, and then we sort it out afterwards. And the thing with Revolut is that you can create a group for the team, and any expense that you have on your card, you can just click to share it with the group that you created, and that keeps track of the whole trip with what everybody owes, and they can just tap once to settle their bill to me in a way. So we have the money. Next up is the phone, and if you're a EU resident and you travel within EU countries, you don't have to think about your data package on the phone. You can use internet all over EU. But if you go into a non-EU country, you have to be careful. I always turn off roaming so that it doesn't charge me a lot of money, because it becomes expensive with internet. Every megabyte counts. So if you're going to stay in that country, you go to some phone store and buy a SIM card. And if you're not going to stay that long, you can use internet, Wi-Fi on gas stations, the hotel that you're staying in, and so on. Border crossing papers, you got the money, phone, and some numbers to call if shit hits the fan. And now we just go explore the country. The only thing we need to think about is, am I hungry? Do I need to go to the toilet? Do I need to refill the fuel? And is it time for beer or bedtime? That's your whole life. That's a perfect life right there. Now let's talk about plans. The time before you go, you start dreaming about the trip and making plans. And nothing can ruin a trip like a strict plan. We have very loose plans. Sometimes we don't plan at all.
Okay, explain to me how exactly you travel without any plan.
Not now, we'll talk later, okay? It depends what you mean by plan. Yeah, if I get on the bike and decide to go, that's a plan. But I'm talking about making a strict itinerary for your trip. For every day, where you should be, where you should go, what you should see, where you should stay. That's a nightmare for me. So instead of plans, I like to have ambitions and a rough plan with a trip. I'll show you how we research and make a map of all those things. But you must leave space for spontaneous events. Some places you may want to stay longer at. You may find things and get suggestions and inspiration from local people that you didn't know before you went. So leave a lot of time open. So usually you start out with a number of weeks that you will be gone. Let's say we have 3 weeks in this scenario. Make your ambitions with a trip where you want to go, fill it with points of interest and so on, and then make sure that fits within 75% of your time, because you need a 25% time buffer, because things will happen, things may break down, or you may find an interesting thing that you didn't know about and want to spend a day or two doing that. So let's plan loosely. This is how we do it. So plans and research and so on, I do on the web, of course, and I use Google Drive. And one thing I always do is I create a new map with here down more and Google My Maps. And for example, for the Balkan trip that we did, Romania and Albania, Greece, and yeah, everything. I call that Balkan Treasures. So the goal was to spend a lot of time down in the Balkans. So yeah, we went from Sweden, ferry to Poland. Nothing planned here because it was only for transit, but we let 3 days pass in Poland just using adventurous routing with various apps, not to go on any highways or anything. Transit doesn't have to be boring, just that we don't take a lot of detours. So, and then before we go, I sit and just fill this map with a lot of things that I find on the web, places there where we could go. I have added here also, this is the Adventure Country Tracks, I think. No, it's the TET. But it's not there because we plan to go there. It's there so that when we are there, we can see that, oh, we're close to the TET, let's go up there for a while. And we have a rough plan to go around the Carpathians. That's in our ambition, and that's what we start doing. If we feel the time goes too slow, and yeah, then we speed ahead and go some other part. And if we're close to a point of interest, we always talk in the evenings. Okay, we're here. Where should we go tomorrow? What should we do? And so on. And if you're really lucky, you will get just enough lost and just enough mechanical problems and no injuries or anything, but you need a little struggle, because then you notice that people are here to help, everyone is nice, and our best memories are from small problems like that. Don't go looking for them, they will happen, and enjoy them. You will thank yourself for not making a full itinerary with all these things that you have to pick every 100% of them. It's not Pokemon Go. You don't have to catch them all. If you miss to see a nice region of a country, you did that because of some other reason. And it just gives you a reason to go back. So that's pretty much how we plan our trips, or don't plan perhaps, and prepare for any trip that we do. If you have any more questions that I didn't cover, please just ask them in the comments below. Just remember to have an open mind to all new cultures, people doing things differently, acting differently. Just meet everything with a smile, and the world will smile around you as well. They will help you, and you will have a great experience on your trip. So, bon voyage. Have a safe trip. Don't trash your travel, and see you in the next one. Ciao.